Hi everyone. So last week I took some time to share with you my top 3 reasons for starting a morning practice. And this week I want to share with you a bit of my own story, my own journey with my morning practice. So my morning, the reason this is so important to me is because my morning is perhaps the most sacred part of my day. It's the time where I really take to just sit with myself, breathe deeply, meditate, and bring a greater awareness and intention into the rest of my day. It just kind of sets the tone for my day. And so as I was thinking back as to when I actually started a morning practice, I was surprised to realize that my morning practices actually started when I was as young as 12 years old. And I learned it from my dad. So every morning, for as long back as I can remember, my father would wake up at 4:30 in the morning and go jogging before getting ready for work. And when I was 12, I started to take a greater interest in my own health. And so I decided that I wanted to start jogging also. So I asked my dad if I could join him on his morning runs. And he said, sure. So I started to set my alarm clock to wake up with him at 4:30 in the morning and go for a jog before going to school. And this was when I was in 8th grade. Um, and that was the start of me having a morning practice. And it stuck. Even, I can remember even when I went to college, undergrad, I would be awake at 7 o'clock in the morning running laps around my campus and everyone else would still be asleep. But I loved starting my day like that. I loved, breathing in the fresh air. I loved bringing in some movement into my body. And then I also always said that running was like a meditation to me. Just falling into that just rhythmic movement of your jog and your breath just brought so much clarity to my mind as well, and energy and vitality to my body. And so I did that for many, many, many years. And then in 2010, I went through my very first yoga teacher training program. And as part of the training, we had to meditate for 15 minutes a day. And we had to report back to our teachers that we were actually doing it. So every morning, I started to just sit down on the floor in my bedroom and set a timer for 15 minutes and meditate. Now, let me tell you, it was so hard for me in the beginning. I would sit down and after about 2 minutes, I'd glance at my watch and I'd be like, oh, it's only been 2 minutes. I have 13 more to go. So I just close my eyes and go at it again. But I found a very interesting thing happened. I found that the days that I missed my meditation, I didn't feel quite as balanced. Like something felt a little off. And that's how I knew that the meditation was really doing something for me. It gave me a greater sense of calm, a greater sense of peace as I moved through my day. And like I said, it was pretty subtle at first because at first I only really noticed it when I missed it and that I would feel just a little bit off those days. So that was the start of kind of a more conscious meditative morning practice for me. And since that time, my morning practices have evolved quite a bit. And now I easily spend up to an hour every morning just on my practices. And it's a combination of different things that I do now, a combination of self-care practices, drawn from Ayurveda, as well as some meditation, breathing practice, and some movement. So either some yoga or going for a walk or a jog. And I've gotten to a point now where I can really tune into my body, my mind, emotions. And so I will kind of tailor my morning practice to fit the needs of my body that day. But without fail, there's always a morning practice. And it has literally changed my life. I remember that I used to wake up and my mind would be racing right when I woke up. I mean, I would wake up, jump in the shower, my mind was racing about all the things I had to do for the day. And when I started a morning meditation practice, all of a sudden that started to slow down. And now it's gotten to the point where it's just automatic for me. I mean, I wake up, I get out of bed, I sit by my altar, and I breathe, I meditate, I move, and I ease my way into my day. And that is reflected in how I carry through the rest of my day, because there's this like underlying sense of just peace and calm. And that's not to say that my emotions don't get shaken up a bit during the day, depending on the situation, because certainly I'm human. It happens. But there's still just this always underlying current of peace and calm, that I've experienced it in my day because I experienced it in my morning, and I can always go back to it. And that's why I've been taking the time here to talk to you about morning practice, because it's quite literally changed my life, and it's something that can be so simple but so powerful. And so next week I'm going to share with you some really easy tips, some really easy ways that if you're interested in starting a morning practice to help you get started. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you next week. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about my story and my journey thus far. And I'm looking forward to sharing more with you next week. Until then, sending you so much love.